Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana video. Today we're going to be putting together a buyer's guide for ARCHAZIA'S Island, set 7 for Disney Lorcana, that is going to be released on March 7th. This is the 7th set, like I mentioned, and we have 6 sets of data and trends that we can kind of apply here to make sure that our hobby dollars and capital is going as far as possible. Obviously, we want the most amount of cards or packs or whatever products for our money, and I think we have some really good trends over the previous 6 sets that we can apply here to make sure that we're doing so, and that's the purpose of this video. So first and foremost, it's important to understand that we have 2 different dates that Disney Lorcana releases new sets on. The first date, as I mentioned, is March 7th. That is your local game store release. The second date is big box or online retail release, which is March 21st, 2 weeks after the original date. This date is built in by Ravensburger to try and get people and foot traffic into your local game store to buy product through them, possibly check out their singles, sit down, open some packs, play some games, etc., etc. That's became a favorite thing for me and my friend group. Anytime a new set comes out, we go to our LGS, we open some product right from release day, and then we play some Lorcana and just kind of hang out in the store, try and buy some singles if we can, just whatever to kind of support the local game stores. But I just think it's really cool that Lorcana does that, or Ravensburger does that. But B, that is the most critical time to get your hands on product at a good rate if you can. So for ARCHAZIA'S Island right now, if you look at a booster box case, so a sealed case of 4 booster boxes. Right now, pre-sale on TCG players, $458. This is a very, very bad deal. Not only because it's $458, I think you'll be able to get it cheaper in most cases, but it also will not ship until the 21st. By the time the 21st comes, the expected value of the boxes is going to be dropping pretty rapidly. Now, depending on how good of a set ARCHAZIA'S Island is, I personally think it's going to be a very good set. I think it's going to be very well received by the public. I think a lot of the Enchanteds are very collectible. I think it has a lot of meta-defining cards and cards that, the players are going to need 4 of. So I think we're going to see a lot of volume on the singles. And so I expect that the expected value of this particular set is going to do very well, but it is definitely going to be tapering off day after day after day. And with that being said, if you can get your hands on product that first day of March 7th, and if you're in the business of selling some of the singles or even selling Enchanteds, whatever it is, buying singles, buying Enchanteds, getting in the game on the 7th is going to be your best bet. Now, this is particularly more so from a seller's point of view. So you guys know me and my channel, I open a lot of product mainly as a collector. I do have a TCG player store, I have an eBay store. I sell a lot of the singles to the players who are competing in DLC events, set champ events, etc. And I like to get these cards on the market before there's a huge influx, because I can typically offload more cards quickly and kind of recoup any sort of investment while also holding on to any sort of Enchanteds that I have. Now, there are a few times where that doesn't make sense, and we'll kind of get into that further as we get into the video. But at the end of the day, what I really want to keep in mind here is, and make sure that it resonates with you, is the expected value of these boxes is going to be at its absolute peak on March 7th. That is when you're going to get the most out of opening this product. So when you look at a booster box case like we do here, we see $460. Right now through my LGS, which is it's a bigger LGS, but I'm in the Midwest where Lorcana isn't really a hot spot or a hub, I would say. I can get booster box cases for $399 from my LGS on the 7th. Now, I would almost bet that the expected value of this box on the 7th is going to be somewhere around 140 to 150 pretty reliably. And so that's, once again, as a collector, that's a great opportunity for me to go out, buy product, open packs, have fun with it, right? Maybe pull some Enchanteds. There are some gorgeous artworks that I really, really want from this set. So me and my daughter are going to open some packs. I'm going to open some packs with my friends at the store, and then we're going to enjoy it. And then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to grind out some singles and kind of get some stuff on the market once again to kind of recoup some of that investment. But if I could open a box at 100, possibly pull an Enchanted and sell some of the singles to make up for that, since the expected value is probably going to be in the 150 range, that's a win-win for me as a collector. And so that's why I really emphasize it's best to get out to your LGS and get your hands on a box from them. Not only is it good to get in the store, give them some foot traffic, right? Check out what they have to offer. But in addition, it's your best bet as a buyer to really get the maximum amount of value out of a particular box. And we have seen that those boxes, whenever, you know, for the first 6 sets, the highest their value is on release day, and then it kind of trails off from there, hitting the biggest trail off on the 21st in this instance for ARCHAZIA'S Island, because they're just simply is so many singles and so much more supply coming to the market, and the demand is typically going to kind of taper off as the set gets older and older. And so at the end of the day, our best bet is going to be on the 7th, and it's going to slowly go down. There's still going to be opportunities there in that first 2 weeks. And look, cards are still going to sell after the 21st. There's still going to be a huge amount of demand for the cards. I'm not saying like you're not going to be able to sell anything. Just your best bet historically has been that first period in between LGS release and then online/retail release is really where you can recoup the most of your investment if you are selling singles, and it's where the expected value for the boxes is just that much more consistent. And so I would recommend, if you can find an LGS that has a decent rate. Now look, you guys have given me some horror stories on like my LGS won't go below 150 or 160. That's absolutely crazy. I mean, look, I hope it pans out for them, whatever. Don't wish any ill will towards them, but that seems like a bad business model. I don't know. Look, they have the overhead of the store and whatnot, so they know what they need to do. But you know, if I would say only wait until the 21st for pre-sales on TCG Player to buy something online, if you truly cannot, you know, get a decent rate in person at an LGS in that first 2-week time period. Now, in that same vein, if you are going to wait until the 21st to get your hands on this product, I would suggest waiting and waiting and waiting. Do not buy the boxes right now where they're at, you know, the lowest here. Let's hop over to an individual booster box here for this example. Lowest on the market is $115 for pre-sale, and that is once again not going to ship until the 21st. There's a good chance that an LGS near you is going to have a box price at $115 or lower that you can get on the 7th, right? And so that's why you need to go out and get it. Now, if you have to wait, and let's say, Mike, I don't have an LGS near me, all the LGSs have them listed at $200, whatever, it's just not feasible to get my hands on a box, but I really want to get one. I would say if you're going to get one, wait until the 21st comes. Do not pre-order on TCG Player, simply based on the fact that we have seen these boxes come down in price time after time after time. Every set thus far, other than the first chapter, has been available for under $100 at some point in their existence. Right now, Rise of the Floodborn is back up to like $140, $150 per box. That's the second set. It's been out for over a year. A lot of iconic cards in there. It's kind of hitting that, like, it's hitting that break point where it's becoming more of like a collector/investment item, more so than like I'm opening it for the cards to build a deck, build a collection, etc. And so but it was available for under $100 at some point. And so I think it's important to realize that these boxes are going to come down in price day after day after day. And unless there's some sort of Black Swan event, Disney really pushes this set. It's grown a ton in the last few months. At the end of the day, I don't think that that's going to be the case, because we don't even have any DLC announcements right now. We don't have Worlds announcements right now. I think, if anything, although the set is I think it's got a lot of powerful cards. I think the artwork is amazing from a collector's point of view. I do think that there's just not a lot of stuff going on in the competitive scene, and so I don't see any reason as to why this box will not be under $100 within the next, you know, kind of like 30 to 60 days after release. Now, once again, I think that there's probably going to be some value there in terms of opening the box if you can get it for under $100, even a couple of weeks after the release, right? The expected value usually holds pretty consistent, just kind of trails off a little bit every day is kind of the historical trend that we've seen. But even 30 to 45 days after release, like Azurite Sea, for example, I remember the expected value of that box. It's still good to this day, but it was holding strong forever. Like, it took a long time for that box to get under $100 in expected value. And really, the expected value of the box was higher than the cost of the box from inception, like all the way down. And so right now, I don't know what a price of an Azurite Sea box is, but the expected value is still in the $90 range. And so there still might even be, you know, value there for Azurite Sea for me, I just didn't love the Enchanted, so I didn't go about opening that much of it. I think I opened like 6 or 7 boxes, and that was it, which was the lowest I've opened of any set by far. So, as a reminder, do not pre-order on TCG Player. Wait until, if you can't get your hands on a box locally, then I would say wait until we get closer and closer to that date on the 21st, because this, this chart here that we see, people were paying, it looks like 135 for a box, and now it's kind of hovering around 115, and there is some decent volume there, right? People are buying boxes, but we still have, we're a couple weeks out from even LGS release, let alone getting to big box / online release, a month from now, essentially. And so we're going to have plenty of time. Do not rush your pre-orders. I would suggest not even pre-ordering on TCG Player. I think your best bet is to just wait and get something on that day. Because, I mean, look, it says shipping date of 3/21. That's when it's going to ship out, right? So you can wait until that date and find them online. And honestly, I would suggest even hopping over to eBay and finding some there. At the end of the day, the stores are not supposed to sell them online until the date of the 21st. And so that's why, these stores are taking pre-sales. But at the end of the day, you're going to have time to buy this, and people might even break that date on eBay. So keep your eyes peeled. On TCG Player, they probably won't, but on eBay, they actually might. So I would keep your eyes peeled there. Now, in terms of the single cards, it is typically a good idea in general to sell your singles as soon as possible. For example, I myself, as a collector, I very much value having Enchanteds. That brings me and my daughter a ton of joy. We have as many as we can, right? Now, I don't like to really sell raw Enchanteds because I am of the mindset that basically every card in Lorcana is undervalued at the moment. But in an instance where I did was Azurite Sea, I pulled the Tiana. My daughter and I pulled the Tiana, and at the time, that card was a $165 Enchanted those first couple days after the set was released. I essentially made the decision without ever selling a raw Enchanted before to go ahead and sell that one to the market, because I knew that in all likelihood that card was going to be readily available down the road at some time. And so we sold it for let's see here, let's find her Enchanted. We sold it for 165. Right now the card is for 100, and this is now 3 months down the road. And so that's why I would advise, in most cases, it's going to be best to offload any card that you don't truly value as soon as possible. I think we sold the Tiana like 3 or 4 days after LGS release for Azurite Sea. And that would be the same strategy for me in this set as well. Now, I will say, I did not like the Azurite Sea Enchanteds. The Arcasia Islands Enchanteds, I'm all about. I love them. So, to be honest, even though it might be a better financial move, it's going to be hard-pressed for me to sell one of these just because we love them, especially depending on, that opening these cards with my daughter is just a dopamine hit. And if I open one that she just loves, and it's, I just can't sell it. It's just, I can't do it regardless of the financial incentive. But taking a step back from my own personal bias, you can truly get good value out of these cards if you're willing to list them. Like if you open a bunch of product on the 7th, you start listing them, that's going to be a really good spot to be in. Now, where that can burn you is if you have a very meta card that just simply hasn't had the chance to run up in price yet, there's a good chance that you're leaving money on the table. And so this is where players of the game have a massive advantage to know, hey, this card maybe is going to be super playable, but collectors might not know it. Or maybe this card's going to be playable and people are kind of missing it right now. They can kind of wait and get some of these cards at really good prices before they run up. And so that's where it might make sense. Some of these legendaries that are valued, or even super rares, etc. If you can kind of forecast what's going to be coming in the meta, you can make some really strategic plays and maximize your expected value out of the boxes based on how the market's going to react to these particular cards. And so that's why I'd say 99% of the time it's better to just list on day one and kind of sell them while the demand is high and the supply is low, right? Just kind of simple economics there. Where that does not make sense is these meta cards, they're going to run up. For example, like a Calhoun from Azurite Sea. That card was available for $8, then it dropped down to $4, and now I think it's up to $15. Did I say Shmi? I meant Calhoun. I get those two cards confused. But Calhoun from Azurite Sea, that card's now a $15 card. So the people who maybe were buying it at $3 or $5, very smart. Now they're up, what they 3x'd, and now if they have a bunch and they're offloading at 15, very smart play. And there's a ton of money to be made in Lorcana just simply by knowing the game, knowing the meta, and forecasting maybe what's undervalued right now. A great example of that is Luke Godwin, the winner of the DLC Seattle Challenge. One time I was playing him on stream, and he showed me his like Doc collection. He thought Doc was like the best card in the set by a mile. He showed me just stacks of them, and then that card, like, it ended up being a super meta defining card, ran up a bunch in price, and the dude was just sitting on like cold foil stacks of them because he's like, this card is grossly underrated. Now, he's a significant player. He has like a 20-year background in Magic. Like, this dude like leaps and bounds above anything that I can comprehend in the TCG competitive space. But at the end of the day, that's where holding on to singles can make sense. So I would say, once again, if you're trying to maximize your dollars and you're trying to, maybe fill out a master set, get your play sets. Oh, sorry, I thought someone was just falling next to me. Your best bet is going to be to sell these cards early and often, and then if you have some cards that you can kind of forecast the meta on, it's going to be best to wait. And so that's kind of the general approach, I think, overall. Get out in person, go see your LGS, get your hands on product, and start listing immediately while the supply is low and the demand is high. And then it's, if you're interested in this video and you want to kind of keep tracking the expected value, stay tuned to my channel. I have an awesome person in the community who gives me the expected value of all cards 35 cents or higher that are kind of coming out of a box every day. We updated it, especially in the beginning of a set release like this. We're going to kind of constantly keep you guys updated on what the expected value is. So that way, if you've pulled a couple big cards, you sell them off, and then you want to kind of keep opening boxes to build your overall kind of just allocation of ARCHAZIA'S Island and the singles that you have, then you can go about doing that in a smart, financially smart way. Now, there is a product here for ARCHAZIA'S Island that I think is an interesting. It's a product that we've never seen that I'm very, very excited that they put together, and it's this gift box here that has a Lilo promo in it, Lilo and Stitch promo. I can't get a close up there, but the promo is awesome. But I'm a sucker for just any sort of alt art or extended border, etc. But the card is gorgeous. It's very playable as well. But you get an assortment of packs here, so kind of like a Pokemon vibe. If you've opened like anything like a Charizard UPC, you get all sorts of different Sword and Shield packs within it. This is going to be a similar vibe. You get 5 packs starting from Rise of the Floodborn up to Azurite Sea. Now, I wish it was 6 and you had one from ARCHAZIA'S Island. I think that would have been a good, just kind of pull it all together with everything except the first chapter. By the way, I think this is another indicator that the first chapter is not going to be reprinted for, those of you out there who are collecting it. But this is a box that I think is going to have some long-term collectability. These products are typically the products are the least likely to get reprinted. And then B, I think that the fact that it has an assortment of packs is going to be very lucrative to someone in the future. So for like the sealed collectors and investors out there, I think this is the first time we have a product like this that is going to be an interesting hold. Now, I'm excited to open it, right? The idea of you can pull enchantments from multiple different sets. I typically have had pretty good luck with sleeve boosters and just products that aren't necessarily a booster box or a booster box case. So I'm just very, very excited for this product. I think it's going to be a very good product. And I think it has some really cool collectability just with the mix of packs, the promo, the artwork is gorgeous, et cetera, et cetera. Just an interesting use case we haven't seen yet. So once again, I think it's going to be best if you don't have an emotional connection to these cards, sell them early and often. You're probably going to come out really good. You're going to be able to supply the players with some singles, collectors, enchanteds, etc. And then if you think some cards are undervalued, hold on to them, man. You never know when the meta is going to shift, and that's a card can be worth nothing until it's worth something, right? And that's the good use case for Calhoun. Calhoun was always known to be a very good card, but she saw a dip in price. And so, there was times where she was selling for $4.32. Now she's selling for $10. Lowest on the market is $11.50. If you want to get a verified seller, lowest on the market is $13. And so, the people you see there's a ton of volume at $4, 1,149 sold. Now, obviously, that's across the entire, market. So that's not one buyer by any means, but you see it ran up took a dip. People at 335 items were sold at $5, and now once again it's almost pretty much tripled in price. So there's if you feel like a card is worth more, hold on to it. You don't have to sell it, right? No one's forcing your hand, but it just typically is going to make sense the majority of the time to get those cards out of your possession sooner rather than later, while the once again the supply is low, demand is high. So that's kind of my strategy for ARCHAZIA'S Island. Now once again, I love a lot of these cards, and so I'm not necessarily offloading like I used to. I now play the game a lot more competitively than I did, I'll say. So like I like to put together play sets. Once again, like some of these enchanteds, like the Tamatoa, like good luck getting that enchanted out of my hands. Like that bad boy ain't going nowhere. And honestly, a lot of them aren't. There's maybe like 2 or 3 that I would sell. Like I would sell the Mickey. I can't think of the rest off the top of my head, but I'm really excited for ARCHAZIA'S Island. I think it's got a great opportunity to bring new collectors into the game. I think that the artwork on the enchanteds are amazing. I'm excited for the Stitch box. Overall, I'm very excited for ARCHAZIA'S Island. It actually might be my biggest allocation yet. Now, I've opened like a ton of first chapter boxes, a ton of Floodborn boxes, but in terms of like pre-orders, this might be my highest allocation. I'm thinking like 3 to 4 cases, and I think this set's gonna do really well. Honestly, it's probably best to just get the same allocation for every set. But like Azurite Sea, for example, I just didn't like the enchanteds, and so I went kind of light, right? I'm a collector first, and at the end of the day, if I don't love something, I'm not gonna pour a bunch of capital into it. ARCHAZIA'S Island, that is not the case for me. I'm very excited for the set. So with that being said, guys, that is gonna be it for today's video. Hopefully this was beneficial. Please let me know if it gave you a good guide, if you would like to see something else, right? Just kind of general thoughts on videos like this. I'd love to see how I can help you guys out and just improve your buying experience, more and more every set. So with that being said, guys, that is it for me. Thank you very much for watching, and we will be back with another video soon. Bye.